All right, it is 6:03 on December 13th. Thank you all for joining us. Again, this is the 90% public information workshop for the West 2nd Avenue plans. Again, it's been a long road for us to get here, but again, we're at 90%. There's various reasons why it's taken us long to get to this point, whether it be, issues with getting additional surveys, getting additional easements, and or working with Orange County utilities. Regardless of all of that, we are finally at the points where we're at 90% plans and we're able to get ready to submit those to Department of Emergency Management, who is administering the HMGP grant funds, which are the monies that are used to fund this project. Originally we were trying to just do a resurfacing project, but we finally realized that there's a lot more to it. We want to enhance the stormwater system as well as the potable water system. So there's two designs. One is the stormwater design and the road design. The second one is the potable water system design. They're doing those concurrently. One is going to go to Department of Emergency Management. The second one's going to go to Orange County Utilities. Hopefully we're able to receive both approvals at around the same time, and then we'll go ahead and bid these as one project. So we have one contractor, one point of contact to deal with any issues and or go ahead and construct this project. Currently on the town council agenda for tomorrow night, we have Butler and Bessie. Regardless of what happens tonight, as far as additional comments, questions, stuff like that, we will take those in consideration and submit those to town council. But depending upon whatever deadline we're under, Mike can clarify if we're required to submit in December and or January or February. We might have to submit these prior to full town council approval. I know we've submitted everything to South Florida Water Management District with all three projects, but again, we want to make sure that we're meeting all the deadlines. In addition to that, there are going to be more monies available to municipalities that fall within the HMGP grant because of COVID. Again, with the construction costs rising, the materials price rising, as well as the delay in getting materials, they're more able to, give us a pass on delays and or give us more money to bridge that gap. And for tonight, what we'll do is we'll just do a brief overview of the project through Mike, and then we can get into your specific questions. So Mike, with that, I'll go ahead and turn over to you. And we do have our Public Works Director, Tanya Elliott Moore, on as well.
Thank you, Robert. Just to begin, the first slide I have shows what a typical roadway section is for West 2nd Avenue, various sections of West 2nd Avenue. We have the project essentially is broken down in about 4 different segments. The first being the cul-de-sac at the very terminus of the of West 2nd Avenue. That's going to include removal and replacement of the existing pavement with the construction of the stormwater and water main improvements. We will not be expanding the width of the roadway in that location. We will be essentially maintaining the existing pavement width, and we have already coordinated with a lot of the residents with regards to the easement description for both the permanent and the temporary construction for that part of the roadway. I believe those agreements have already been drafted up. Is that correct, Robert?
Yes, they've been drafted up. We emailed them to all of the contacts that we have for the 6 or 7 property owners at the end of the cul-de-sac. If we need to, we'll just set up times where they can come to the town admin to sign those. There's questions whether it needs to pass around the entire easement agreement or just sign the signature pages. They just need to sign the signature page in front of a notary and then turn it in.
Okay, thank you. From there, the project will extend east where it will connect to the existing section of West 2nd Avenue that was recently completed by the town. The roadway width is going to vary because we would just essentially be tapering from the existing pavement width on the east end and connecting to the cul-de-sac. So the pavement is going to slightly vary. It'll be somewhere in the vicinity of anywhere from probably 8.5 to 9 feet in general, but that's not fixed. It's going to be a transition type pavement width.
Mike, if you can do me a favor and just go to the colored exhibits. As most of the people that are on here right now, a lot of the details sheets are Greek to me. I can't read it. But you can show where the existing and the future improvements will be on some of these. And these are items that were discussed at length with the property owners. So they should have a good idea where everything's going to be located. And I believe that the blue is the water line. Is that correct?
Blue is a proposed water main, correct?
All right,
So
thank you.
In the gray is essentially where the proposed pavement is to be constructed. And we've pretty much stayed pretty close to the existing pavement width, and we'll be constructing a ribbon curb, which will provide strength and really provide integrity to maintain the edge of the pavement so that it doesn't break off.
And Mike, real quick for us non-engineers, what is a ribbon curb, and is it different from what the curbing that is proposed throughout the entire project?
A ribbon curb is merely this right here. It's nothing more than a 12 inch by 12 inch concrete barrier that will be constructed along the edge of the pavement so that the pavement just doesn't break off. We're trying to protect the edge of the pavement from breaking off, because obviously during normal operations, you'll have garbage trucks, you'll have landscape vehicles, you'll have other delivery trucks that will be using the roadway. And so the wheel on the vehicles will traverse over the pavement. And we just want to make sure that this ribbon curb will protect the edge of the pavement so it doesn't break off.
All right, so something that you would see in a typical suburban HOA.
Correct. It's you see a lot of it in this type of condition where it's in very tight quarters in really low traffic volume.
Right. And that's going to be, and is that the same or different from what's proposed, like in front of McCarthy's house or the Kirby house?
It will be different because of our limited right of way. We ended up using a standard ribbon curb, which is only 12 inches in width. The curb and gutter we'll be using for other sections of the roadway will be approximately 2 feet in width, which provides a gutter to allow water to flow into the inlets that will capture the stormwater runoff.
So the ribbon curb is horizontal.
The ribbon curb is more horizontal, correct?
Okay. And then the other type of curbing that we're going to be putting out throughout is going to be more of a additional 24 inches, which is going to be able to people to park on, so on and so forth, correct?
Correct. It will be what they call traversable. And okay. This is probably a better view of it. You can see what it looks like. It's not your standard, what they call a barrier curb, where it extends 6 inches above
right
grade. And so it is traversable. So if residents need to use the right of way for parking or for access for the landscapers, they'll be able to drive over this curb in order to access any parking needs.
So the two areas that are previously improved, you'll see exactly what's going out there. The only change will be when you get to the end, the cul-de-sac, is when we change the type of curbing.
That's correct. That's correct. Right.
And then when you talk about a crown roadway, that means you're doing it kind of like this, as opposed to just directing the stormwater to one direction, correct?
Correct. In other words, a crown roadway is the roadway will be pitched such that water flows to the outside of the roadway, from the center to the outside. in the cul-de-sac, because of the limited right-of-way that we have and because of the need to provide drainage, we're proposing what's called an inverted crown, where the road pitches from the outside to the middle. And in the stormwater management and the drainage facilities will be constructed in the middle of the road to collect any stormwater runoff that comes from any rainfall events.
Thanks, Mike.
Moving on to the next slide. You have to excuse me because these are large slides, and so sometimes it takes a little longer for them to pull up on the computer screen. Again, this is the cul-de-sac in, and where we will change right away is at this juncture here, because this is where the town has right-of-way ownership to the east of this point here, to the right. So we will be maintaining the existing right-of-way from this point here on.
Mike, I hate to stop your flow too. And as far as people's aprons, their driveways, are we replacing in like kind?
Yes, we'll work with the homeowners on the driveway, under driveway replacement. I know in the past, other projects we've done, we've worked closely, myself and John Fitzgibbon have worked closely with the residents on the type of driveway that they would like to have replaced. Most of these are brick pavers, and we would try to maintain them to the best that we can, if that is what the owner would like.
Yeah. And we'll work with each individual property owner on your driveway apron, whatever you want to call it, as well as landscaping, stuff like that. We've done that in the past. We've done a lot of site visits. Tanya and John have been out there a lot, and as well as Mike. So again, during construction or prior to construction, if you have any issues, just let us know ahead of time. Thanks.
Right. We've done that with like irrigation features, where we've capped the irrigation and restored them after, once we're close to completing construction. And again, we would work with a homeowner on the landscaping features that they would like to maintain or would like to see revised or removed.
Right. And the only reason I keep jumping in is because these questions have been asked for the Bessie and Butler projects as well. Just because you see the potable water on one side does not mean it's not accessible to the other side of the road. We're going to be subbing it out to each and every residential property, which means that everybody will have access to potable water if they currently do not, and you will have the fire flow protection that you need. In addition to that, we are doing arborist reviews. So any and all trees that we can save or that we can protect, we're going to.
Correct. Moving on to the next slide. Make sure I've got this the right location. This portion of roadway from here to here, let me just see if I can enhance that for better. This section of roadway was completed previously by the town as part of drainage improvements that were being done for this portion of 2nd Avenue. So what will happen is wherever this existing pavement begins here, will connect with our improvements to the west and also to the east.
Yeah, and so we're also going to be redoing that pavement section, just so again there's a consistent look, feel and on the same maintenance schedule as the entire roadway.
Right, correct, Robert. What we'll be doing is we'll be scraping off the top inch of that existing pavement. And then when we come back and resurface the entire roadway, this existing portion will also be resurfaced with that inch of pavement so that you have a consistent look throughout the entire length of the Second Avenue. Some of the things we'll also be doing is we'll be looking at where we want to minimize disturbances with the construction of the proposed water main along the south side of the road. So we'll be trying to minimize those impacts, whether it be shifting the water main to the back of the curb and minimizing our impacts to the existing driveways.
And the reason we can't put it in the middle of the roadway is Orange County Utilities will not allow us, and plus you don't want it in the middle of the roadway because you'd have to tear it up every time you have to do a repair.
Right.
And Mike, another question, has this design significantly changed from the last time it was proposed to the residents?
It has not. The only thing that has really changed has been we've kind of tweaked the width of the roadway to try to maintain some of the existing roadway widths west of these improvements that have been completed. So
the cul-de-sac area pretty much.
Right, to the cul-de-sac area, right, correct. Now further to the east here, we'll be transitioning from the existing width at this juncture here. And eventually, because of the availability of right-of-way, we're trying to maintain at least a 9-foot lane, which provides two-way traffic access in either direction, especially for vehicles going, especially for trucks going either direction. Right now, what you see is that people are having to pull off and allow traffic to get through before they can traverse themselves. So now with the proposed configuration, traffic will be able to get by in either direction without having to pull over.
So meaning that the total width would be 18 feet plus the 2 feet on either side, which would be 22 feet. So the additional 2 feet would be the curbing. So you have 9-foot width for a lane plus 2 feet, which is a standard 11-foot lane. The same thing would be to the south lane, correct, Mike?
That's correct. Moving further east, as we get into the first curvature of West Second Avenue, we'll be constructing drainage improvements along this section of road because there is basically no infrastructure there as exists today. We know that there are some low areas within the roadway that result in the ponding and the pooling of water in the roadway. So we will be collecting that stormwater in a French drain system or a system that will allow water to be captured and percolate into the groundwater once it's captured. We've also been working. We've also been working with some of the residents on the inlet locations. I know there was one inlet here that we ended up shifting because it was located in close proximity to their driveway. And so we moved that inlet away from their driveway so that it doesn't impede their access to their property. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Mike, one question came from Jack Johnson, who I'm a great fan of. Will the speed bumps and or current traffic control devices remain?
Yes, the intent is to maintain the speed humps wherever we can. I know there is one somewhere in this vicinity here, but we may end up having to shift it slightly because it would be in the way of the proposed drainage. But the intent will still be there, that we would still provide a means to control speeding along West Second Avenue by maintaining those speed humps.
Are we going to maintain the exact same look, feel, speed bump, or are we looking at doing a different type of speed hump?
It would be probably a little different, probably not quite as abrupt a hump. We went and looked at some of the various municipalities in the county to see what they were using, and we think that the one that we'll be proposing will be adequate. It's one that was constructed for the section of West Second Avenue, just between Palmer and Pine Street, right in front of Palmer Park. So the speed humps would basically be the same configuration.
Question that just came through was, how do we ask a question? Once we get all the way to Main Street, we can go ahead and just open it up for everybody. We just want to do a quick overview, but these are some of the questions that have arisen during the Butler and Bessie Basin projects. Those aren't paving projects, but they're stormwater projects, and they have similar concerns. So once Mike gets to Main Street at the terminus, then we can go ahead and open it up for everybody's question. But if you want to go open the chat box and make sure that you're asking the question to everybody, not just directly to me, because somebody might have a similar question. But just jot it down in the chat box or raise your hand icon, and we'll get to all of your questions.
Again, continuing east on West Second Avenue, here you can see one of the speed humps that we're proposing in this vicinity here. And the speed humps will be enhanced with pavement markings to clearly identify where the speed humps are, so that the driver is not surprised as he or she approaches the speed hump. Again, the water main is currently aligned on the south side of West Second Avenue, and we'll try to maintain it in that same general vicinity.
Those of you that currently have potable water systems, we'll be putting in dual lines. So your service may be interrupted just for a couple of hours, but it's not like it's going to be interrupted for days.
This is where the project will again terminate at the existing construction limits that were previously completed by the town. Let me just highlight where this is.
That's Second and Pine. That's the Lee property.
This section of West Second Avenue was previously completed by the town under a separate capital improvement project, and so both the drainage and the roadway improvements were completed under that project. So we will not be reconstructing the roadway, but we will come back and remove that first top 1.5 inches of pavement, and then come back and replace it with new pavement to match the rest of the project. This is also where the water main improvements will terminate. Pursuant to the town's master water main plan. The water main west of Pine Street is only a 6-inch water main, and I believe what is recommended was to replace it with an 8-inch water main in order to provide sufficient fire flow and also pressure for any residents who want to tap into the water main for potable water service in lieu of their existing wells if they so choose. We pick up the project again just west of Palm Street, where we begin our 9-foot lanes from here all the way to Main Street. We'll be looking at extending the pavement along some of the side streets like Palm Street and Butler Street in order to provide a means for any traffic that would be sitting at this intersection to sit in a paved condition, and also to help facilitate drainage, because we do have significant drainage that comes down these streets and into West 2nd Avenue. So our intent would be to better capture that stormwater runoff and direct it to where it needs to be collected and drained to.
And you do see this similar on Main Street, where you see an apron coming off of Main Street, maybe a stacking lane to where it carries about 2 cars before you hit the dirt. It's better for maintenance as well.
Again, you see some of the existing speed humps that we will be maintaining as part of this project in order to control speeding along West 2nd Avenue. One of the challenges of this project was some of the steeper slopes that we were encountering, particularly from a drainage perspective, because a lot of these homes that are on the downstream end of this very steep portion of roadway were receiving tremendous amount of stormwater runoff, and erosion was occurring on their property, and also washing out the edge of the pavement of the roadway itself. So the proposed improvements will provide a means to capture that stormwater runoff and direct it down to its ultimate outfall before it starts to wash out along 2nd Avenue within the right of way, and also beyond the right of way where water has gone historically.
You're talking about Forest, Mike?
Yep, eventually going down 4th Street.
Yeah, we've had lengthy discussions with the Mitchells and Gonzalez's that are on the northeast and southeast corners. And we're currently under contract with Cathcart Construction to do the stormwater improvements on Forest. We actually did a peer review of Michael Orr and Kim Horn Associates to make sure that everybody was on the same page for the improvements for First and Forest, to make sure that that stormwater is being remediated. In addition to, if you didn't know, we are paving old dirt main from 2nd Avenue to the canal. That's just been a mud bog for quite some time. And we're hopefully going to be doing that in conjunction with the Ward Trail project, which we have another public meeting on Thursday, Tanya? Wednesday, I think it's Thursday. We have so many meetings this week that I'm trying to cram everything in, but so the First and Forest project is under peer review, and that should be started within the next month or so.
Yes, sir. It's definitely Thursday.
Thursday at 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the terminus is over at Main Street. And you can see here where Mike has made some potable water changes. Is that correct?
Correct. What we're doing here, and as part of the town's master water plan, is that in the future, the town would like to connect all the streets with their water mains so that the system is looped, and that if there is a break or a section of line needs to be serviced, then there would not be a loss of pressure from both a fire flow perspective and also from a really consumption and potable water use perspective. So we are proposing to extend the water main along each one of the side streets there, so that in the future, the town could make these future connections and provide that looped water main system.
And you also want to loop so it doesn't create a septic issue to where you don't need to blow off or something like that, because if water sits still, it's not going to meet any standards that you would want in your faucets. And a lot of the questions that we had previously in the Butler and Bessie projects was, am I going to be required to hook up to Orange County Utilities water? Now, if your well goes bad, Department of Health will not approve a new well to be drilled. They will require you to hook up to Orange County Utilities. So we'll stub it out to your property line. And then it would be up to you to work with Orange County Utilities to set a meter and then work with a plumber to plumb it all the way to your house. You'd still be able to utilize the well for irrigation purposes.
Correct. This is the terminus of the project, where it would terminate at Main Street. We would connect to the existing pavement on Main Street. We're still working on the configuration here at the intersection of West 2nd Avenue and Dirt Main to confirm what the final configuration and the alignment of the paving of Dirt Main will be. And so I've been working with Kimley Horn and Associates on getting that finalized as well. Robert, is all the right-of-way taking been completed for Dirt Main?
Yeah, taking is such a bad word nowadays. We have negotiated a contractual price with the Massey's, Singers, Hart, and Silva, I believe it is, or Gupta. We were just waiting on the Denoyles to agree, but if not, we would have to go to the eminent domain process. But we're offering the same exact price that we purchased the ward property for. So they've agreed to sell that property right there on that corner, so you can proceed as we've spoken earlier about. But the older main paving project will wait until we are able to acquire the Denoyle property. And that's all we have as far as the presentation. Pretty much everything is exactly the same as it was with the 40% plans, just some minor tweaks, working with Orange County Utilities. Again, we're having to send them more hydraulic calculations for the flows to make sure that whatever we're planning is going to be adequate for fire protection and for the loop system. At the cul-de-sac, there's not an ability to loop the system, so we will have to do some sort of blow off. And if there's a question on that, Mike will be more happy to answer it. But
there is a blow off there already, Robert. So from my understanding, and that will be maintained.
So what you do is just open the water system, let it flow for a little bit, and then close it. And with that said, we're more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you can raise your hand icon, or you can type a question in the box, or just raise your hand in the video. The first one I have is Ray, Florida.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's great. First time I've used Zoom. I live on 209 West 2nd on the corner of Forest, and I spoke to John Fitzgibbons about a few issues last year, but I didn't hear anything, so I just wanted to see if they've been noted.
Right,
everything
209 West 2nd Avenue, right here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, unfortunately, John wasn't able to make the meeting tonight. His daughter's moving back.
Okay. No, he said he'd take note. When he met me last year on the walk around, we went through things and he said he'd make a note of it. The first issue was the fact that my water meter is in the wrong place. Right. It's actually smack in the middle of my driveway. And when I tried to ask Orange County to get it moved, they said, oh, you might as well wait until the road's going to be redone in a few years' time. So I'm just seeing if that was that issue was noted.
Yes.
We'll make sure it's noted.
Certainly, we will look to relocate that water main such that it provides you a better configuration for your driveway.
I want to try and straighten the driveway. At the moment, the driveway goes around the water meter. and everyone keeps driving into the onto the yard, you know.
Right, just like this, you want to just take it like straight this way.
Yeah, dead straight. So that means the water meter has to go slightly to the left. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right. We that shouldn't be an issue. So
Yeah.
I'm presuming this is what you're considering or thinking
Exactly.
about for your.
Yeah. Well, that's how it should have been originally, but we couldn't do that because the water meter was in the way. So.
Right. So we will certainly work on that. Also, I guess, was there a question with regards to the water that comes down here right now?
Yeah, currently it's terrible. That erosion along there is really bad. I was concerned that just a flat gutter is going to overflow. So
well, we may consider, because we're picking up water further upstream here.
Yeah.
Because right now everything just drains right here.
Exactly. It's been a major headache for years.
We may consider looking at maybe adding an inlet somewhere in this vicinity here.
Yeah.
Just to keep water from getting here and turning and going down your driveway. Yeah,
well, it's not so much a driveway; it's more the front yard. And it seems just erodes it continually. We've been fighting it for years. That's why, because I thought it would have been better to put like a step curb or step gutter on it rather than just the flat gutter.
I know I've seen some logs put there before.
Yeah, last resort. Yeah.
And so, we're looking to try to improve the ability to collect water and keep it from getting off the roadway into the private property.
Yeah, that's great. As long as you know that anyway, so you've noted that. It's perfect.
Right, correct. So we've made note of that, and we'll make that consideration for our final design.
Great, I appreciate it. And also, last question is: are you going to start at one end and work towards the main street, or are you just going to do the whole thing in one go?
That's a good question, because a lot depends on what the contractor, how he wants to approach it. He may break it down in segments.
Yeah.
Where he does the cul-de-sac on the very far end first.
Okay.
A lot of it depends on where he can store his materials and his equipment.
Okay.
What we'll do is, Mike, sorry to interrupt. We'll have a pre-con meeting with the residents as well. We'll have that as part of the bid, so they can answer any of the questions, and you make sure that you have the correct point of contact, not only for the town's representatives, but also the whoever gets the awarded bid, just so they have a person and a face that you can contact in case there's any questions or issues. But more than likely, they'll stage it and make sure that you're aware of when the staging occurs. As far as when the construction timeframes are, to make sure that mail service still continues, solid waste still continues. More than likely, we'll probably utilize some of the area by Palmer Park as the staging area for the construction vehicles.
Okay, that's great. I'm fine with that. Thanks very much.
Welcome. If that's all your questions, if you can lower your hand icon. Next one I have is Bob McGough.
Yes. Robert, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have a question about the engineering drawing of 613 driveway. Could we go to that? I want to have a few questions about it.
613, Mike, yeah.
Let me see if I can find where that sheet is. Oh, it's too far.
Yeah. It's about 50 yards west of. Let's see.
Says here we are.
You better unmute yourself. You're unmuted. So be quiet.
613?
613, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, here.
So on this map, on this drawing, I can't find the driveway for 613. You'll notice you have some construction on this drain, but nowhere. See where it says S23?
Yes.
To the left of that should be shown a driveway and a whole row of trees and a wall, and none of it appears on this. So I'm a little concerned that you haven't taken that into account, because you have to remove this driveway, or at least part of it, in order to maintain the width of the road. For some reason, it was skipped over in the design.
Mike, it looks like it's hidden by the trees, so may have to just do a
Yeah.
quick revision to that and move the
Yeah,
drainage to the east a little bit.
What
Well-
I'll do is I'll turn off the aerial and take a closer look, because the aerial may be hiding where any of the other survey features are that were picked up
Yeah.
are.
All right.
Yeah, I think you can see the driveway for 611, and you can see the driveway to the right of it, to the left of it. But for some reason, you don't have a driveway for 613. See, this long driveway is 23.
This is the one we found for 613. Is this not the driveway?
You're saying this is the driveway, this little box
Yeah,
here?
this right here
Oh,
is
okay.
the driveway that we have proposed to
All right.
replace.
Yes. Okay.
So we
then-
do have it shown to be
I didn't
improved.
know. I didn't know that was a driveway symbol.
No, that
Yeah,
that is a
Okay.
driveway symbol here. So we are accommodating this driveway. So we're basically going to be reconstructing this driveway here for you.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sorry. I looked over to the east a little bit, Mike, and it looks like you can see like it looks just between the S23 and the apron. It just looks like there's some driveway there, but that may not be the case.
I don't know. See?
No, but yeah, we are accommodating the driveway here at 613.
Okay, good. Mhm. All right, thank you.
Court? Sorry, I muted myself for some reason.
All right, I lowered my hand. How are y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for all the input. We appreciate it. Of course, I'm here at 1040 West Second down by the cul-de-sac, Mike. And not anything too major on my questions. The one I have is a blow-off valve. Yes, there is one now in the island, and it's labeled as such. You know, it says BOV on it, blow-off valve. And that's great. I didn't know if there's multiple kinds. I'm not a stormwater, or I'm not a potable water kind of guy. I don't know what it is. You know, is it supposed to pop off every night, or every 2 weeks, or every year, or is it manual where they come in and do it? The new one that's proposed, or are they going to reuse the
I
same
believe it's an automatic blow off.
Okay, the one I can tell you, the one that's here has never gone off yet.
Okay.
So unless it's on an annual schedule or something, but I mean, it hasn't gone off. And the only reason, I think I mentioned, I have a friend that lives in a cul-de-sac in over by Kelso, and his goes off every night, but it seems like it puts 3,000 gallons in the cul-de-sac, and it's perpetual puddle. And it's just, and he goes, yeah, I didn't even know what a blow-off valve was, but he goes, yeah, this is what this thing, it's right by my mailbox, and it pops off every night and puts an incredible amount of water in the cul-de-sac. Whatever, it is what it is. I understand why we have to have one. I guess my only request would be, if it's gonna put that much water out, it's gonna wash away all the dirt in the island. It's gonna kill the landscaping, and it's just gonna put dirt all over the road and, create a flood every night. So whatever your engineering help could be to manage the amount and the location, final location, because it is labeled BOV right now, but
Yeah.
I've been here, we live here, and it's never gone off. I would
Well,
know.
We'll certainly ask the county about that,
Mhm.
because it is their facility.
Yeah.
I
And
understand. So I guess whatever we could help make sure that it's in a position that it drains and doesn't fill up the nice swale, right? Every night. And then B, whatever the schedule is, if it's nightly, it's nightly. If it's monthly, whatever it is, but it's just, I know the one over there in Kelso it's just the road's always wet. It's wet every day.
So
Well,
court,
anyway.
court, we'll make a note to chat with Orange County about what they're gonna require there, and what the frequency and what type of blow off valve will be there. So we'll just make that note to talk to them about that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
And thank you for
absolutely.
fixing the bottle today.
Oh, you're
At the
welcome.
at the corner. I know we're putting Band-Aids on it right now, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
and Public Works as well. Please let them know. If people notice,
I will.
I didn't even say anything. See, it's a nice job. All right,
I
and
got
then-
the thumbs up from John Fisher.
There you go. Thumbs up from Fisher. And then regarding space, Robert, and Mike, as far as parking, our little street is tight. We all know. So when someone's out of town, we all let each other know, hey, we're gonna have a party. You can use your space, whatever. There's been some recent tear downs or some empty lots. I don't know the timing of new construction, et cetera, but I would hope that the town could at least ask, and I would hope that the homeowner would be gracious enough to say, hey, here's a little bit of a use agreement or whatever, hold harmless, park a couple trucks in our lot or whatever, instead of having to, bring stuff all the way back down to the end of the street. Just something to offer if we do it a lot down here type thing. You know what I mean? So on empty lots or whatever, or neighbors' houses, stuff like that. And then the only last thing, this is more of a legal thing, Robert, on the easement agreement. I read through it and thank you again. It looks great, but it says a temporary 5-foot easement. And I simply can't do that. Our drain field, again, it's just the way it was done. It was all permitted, but our drain field goes inches from the existing ribbon of asphalt. And so
that's just for construction purposes, meaning that
I understand.
if we disrupt it, we'll make sure we repair it.
Well, you can't drive on the drain field. I mean, it'll fail. You
Understood.
Can't. Yeah. So I'm just, and I know it's tight, and whoever the winning contractor is, they'll see it, they'll know it, but I don't know how if they drive 5 feet on the land, it's going to damage, our drain field. So
yeah, the town's not going to be in a position to where we're going to want to replace the drain field. So we make sure we're very conscious about that.
I know this is a minutia. All this will work out when we get to the real deal. So thank you to everyone for all your information, and thanks for all that. One last question. I know that you mentioned, Mike, that it's going to be one continuous ribbon, the best we can, one continuous ribbon from end to end. So we won't have transitions at the places where we're not building new curbs.
The ribbon will only be from the cul-de-sac to approximately at this location here where it curves, because this is where we tie back into the town's right of way.
Yep.
And we go to our drop curb configuration.
Correct.
Which
yep. I'm sorry.
through.
I didn't mean ribbon curb. I'm sorry. I'm actually talking about the uninterrupted piece of asphalt. It just curiosity. You said you're gonna replace an inch or two even on the places that are nice now, just to keep it as one smooth piece from end to end.
Right. Well, yeah. We will. It's called milling. We will mill off the top 1.5 inches, and then put back down an 1.5 inches again, so that not only will it look good, but it also extends the life of the pavement.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. The look is one thing, but extends the life for sure. Great. All right. That's all for me. Thank you to everyone involved.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, we don't want to piecemeal projects to where we're going to have to go in front of McCarthy's place and just mill and resurface that one section. 10 years from now. So
right. It's probably been 6 or 8 years now. So anyway, great. Thank you again.
Mike, real quick before we get to the Reams question, can you give a quick timeline of when you anticipate this going to DEM and then going out for bid and possible construction timeframes?
I have to coordinate with DEM on their deliverable schedule, because they do have a specific list of deliverables they would like, and so I will go over that with them. As far as the project schedule goes, what happens next is that once we've completed and satisfied this, what they call the phase 1 of the HMGP, then they will take a look at the phase 2 funding, and they will look at not just our plans, but they will also take in consideration really how there are changes in the construction costs, because construction costs are escalating like no one's seen, in the last several years. And so they will take that in consideration when they're going to be looking at how much they will fund for this project. So they will look at our costs and also take into account whatever is currently market value for construction material and labor. and put that into a package that they will review. And if they agree, then they will enter in a contractual agreement with the town for that amount that the town can then use to procure a contractor to construct the project. So we still have to go through another step because they unfortunately with the HMGP, they will still require what's called a BCA or benefit cost analysis to be done, which we have done, but they want to do it themselves. So they want to do their own BCA to make sure the project is viable for funding.
If you had a crystal ball, and I'm not holding you to this, when do you think construction would start?
If I had a crystal ball, I would say the latter quarter of 2022, just because of the lag in getting the construction funding.
So the fall of 2022?
Yeah, that's just what I've been assisting the city of Orlando on another project, and that's what they're running into right now, is that kind of lag. Because and they are ahead of this project. And a lot of it is because of the fact that money is being allocated, not just for Orange County, but for all the disaster counties in the state. And so DEM is got their hands full, and we can see that with the turnover in project management.
Yeah, and what Mike is really referring to is, since this project has started, we've had 3 point of contact with DEM, and we expect that to continuously occur. So we have to have not only the typical regulatory agencies review this project, but also the grant funded Department of Emergency Management, who is reviewing these for the federal government, review them as well. So it just adds another layer, which causes delays. So, all right, well, thank you, Mike. And I see Barbara is back. I wish I could join you right now. Barbara, you guys have a question?
Yes,
We
Roland does have a question.
Mike, I have two questions. In the beginning of the presentation, you indicated that we and the town work together on landscaping, driveways, irrigation, water main. And I want to be sure, and your detailed plans take a lot of this into account. We have not approached the town with specific requests. Are you, my impression was that I would have opportunities to do that when things started.
It depends on what the request
Did you
is.
talk to each
Right.
homeowner, or am I
We
on the right track here?
Yeah, every project is different. And again, every property owner is going to have a different need or request. And every project I've worked with in the town, we've always worked closely with that property owner to make sure that we're not going to be adversely impacting their property, first of all, but we're also going to be working with them to try to make sure that the end product is going to present them with the best, I guess, the best restoration that's going to occur on their property, whether it be relocating landscaping. We've had to relocate driveways. We've had to redo irrigation because of things we've encountered. So the town has really worked hard to try to maintain that level of I guess working relationship with the property owner.
Mike, I think I can step in and help with this.
Sure.
Mr. Reams, John and I will be happy to come out with this plan sheet, and we'll go over what's happening in front of your area, and we'll review that with you. Does that work for you?
Yes, that works fine.
I think it's a question more of timing, like when is there's no sense in talking about it.
You missed it.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're thinking about the fall and Mike's
Okay,
crystal
so
ball.
we don't need to do that now.
Yeah, but like if you have Bahia versus San Augustine or Caterpillar, we put in like kind as far as sodding. Again, like kind as far as what type of materials your driveway is. But if you have like a special tree, a plant, avocado tree or something like that, we'll be more than happy to work with you on relocation of that, or even your mailbox. We work with a lot of individuals on the relocation of the mailbox if it even needs to be relocated.
I'm not asking my question quite right. I
Okay.
understand what you said. I want to be sure we're not remiss in being more active in presenting these details right now. We've spoken to John and talked about the property. I just didn't want to miss a step in the process. It doesn't sound like I am.
No, you're not.
So I'll go to my second question then. Kind of a nosy question. How's it going with the water main and Orlando utilities and are they going to be folks that do this in a timely way, the way we're looking for?
Well, the only thing they do is they review and they approve. We do the construction. Orange County Utilities doesn't do the construction. So with Mike's crystal ball projection, I think that gives us plenty of time to provide the new hydraulic calculations to Orange County Utilities. And they are already have agreed to review these plans, the West 2nd Avenue, the Butler and the Bessie plans, prior to us finalizing those hydraulics. So our plan is to bid these out at the exact same time. So they're not having to come back in, or we're not waiting for Orange County Utilities to give approval prior to us getting this project done.
Yep. Thank you. I understand that. And thank you for a nice presentation.
All right. Thank you. All righty. Anybody else? Again, we're here to answer the questions. This is not your last bite at the apple. It will be presented to Town Council at the January meeting. And then also, once this is awarded, we will require the project manager to hold one of these public meetings to discuss individual issues. Again, when it comes to method of transportation, when it comes to staging, when it comes to anything else that you may have a question about, just so you have a face to the name that we provide you. And we'll also have Tanya and John and Mike on this project throughout. So, and everybody has my cell phone number, just like they have CT's. So is there anybody else that has a question, or can we call it a night? And then again, this is being recorded, so you can send it over. It's going to be in the town's YouTube channel. We'll post it on our website and social media sites. So it will be available to your friends, neighbors, in case they have any additional questions. Let me look through here and scroll and see if there's any additional questions. I don't see any. Again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we're looking forward to a great 2022 and getting these roads fixed and at a appropriate width so you can pass by your neighbors and wave without driving into somebody's lawn.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for all your
Thank you all.
participation.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it. Good night.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.